Here. You think Jalen Hurts is having a better start to his career than Wentz did? I don't. I don't. Let's see about that. Let me take a look at that. Carson Wentz stats. Let's see Wentz's first 2 years. Wentz's first 2 years. He threw for 3,782, 16 touchdowns, 14 picks. His second year, he was 11-2. Threw for 33 touchdowns. Threw 6 picks. Threw for 32.96. And they won the Super Bowl. Who's had a better start to their career? Hurts or Wentz? I'm going somewhere with this. Ron goes, Jordan Davis will never be a stat guy. Correct. He's never been. He'll never put up 11 sacks like Javon Hargrave. That's a problem for me. Wentz came in like Tarzan, went out like Jane. True. See, this is why I love Joseph. He and I go back and forth. I love this guy. Joseph, I love you, man. Don't kid yourself. Love it. Different vibe. Wentz was a franchise quarterback. Hurts isn't? Hurts isn't a franchise? Dan Hassan is the NFC Defensive Player of the Month. Let me know when Bosa gets that accomplishment. 85. I'll let you know when Bosa wins the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Wentz. Hurts is going to be a better player. Oh, that's agreed. I agree. How did you know that, though? You didn't know that in year 2. You thought he was the second coming. You gave him a contract in the offseason when he won a Super. Get this. So explain this to me. Wentz doesn't finish the season. Foles wins the Super Bowl MVP. But yet, Howie and the organization gave Wentz that $38 million a year contract? Is that right? Are you going to do the same thing for Jalen? Are they going to do the same thing for Jalen? Are they going to give him market value deal, $45 million? Or do they have to win the Super Bowl for that to happen? How are they going to handle? Wait a minute, Yale. Wentz didn't finish the year. Foles finished the year for him. And they still gave him the money. Jalen got hurt too. Are they going to still go down that path same way that they did with Wentz? How come you gave Wentz the deal? You won't give Hurts the deal? Look at Roland. Yeah, probably. Really? So there's no conviction in that comment. Sileo, Hurts will win more Super Bowls than overrated Troy Aikman. I don't believe Hurts ever wins a Super Bowl. I don't. I've said that, and I've been on record with that. Philly did Wentz dirty. No, they didn't. He started not performing, but they paid him. Sills, real talk. What are you paying Jalen if he wins a Super Bowl? $50 million. I have no choice. Between 45 and 50. If he wins it, okay, 5-star. If he wins it, you have to pay him between 45 and 50. You have to at least match Kyler Murray's deal, 46-1. You have to. You don't F up the decision like you did last time. You should have kept Foles and traded Wentz. Don't screw that up this time. He wins the Super Bowl, all bets are off. I don't think he will, because I don't think he's those dudes. But we've seen lesser players win it. I just don't think. I personally, I look at Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a franchise quarterback. Justin Herbert, Allen, those guys look the part. You could build around them. If you lose certain players, they're not relying on their wheels. They're going to win games from the pocket. They're going to throw the ball 700 times and take advantage of today's NFL. You're never going to, I got to keep watching what I say with that, because you do have two 1,000-yard receivers. And that's a huge accomplishment for an offense that never really has been a big offense. Philadelphia is not a high-powered offense. Never has been. In the history of the franchise, you still don't have a 100-catch guy in 1 year. This year is maybe the best tandem you've ever had in the history of the team. It's not a rip, because you've had the most success of any team in the NFC East since 2000. Well, the Giants won 2 Super Bowls, but you've won more playoff games. Okay? No, I said that he is a franchise quarterback. No, you're right, he wasn't. Miguel. Look at Miguel. Here's a prime example of old school thinking. I'm hollering, Sills. Literally said that Trevor wasn't a franchise quarterback at the beginning of the year. That's right. Doug Peterson saved him and turned him back into the talent we saw when he came out of college. That's what's happened. That's not a change in an opinion. That's actually fact, what happened. Zach Ertz is not a wide receiver. Arthur, Zach Ertz is not a wideout. He's a tight end. Zach Ertz is a tight end. You've never had a wide receiver with 100 catches in the history of the team. How many times do you guys get that wrong? Every time I say it. Ask Warren Moon if he would take Hurts or Lawrence. I will. Doug Peterson is going to win multiple division titles with Trevor Lawrence. They're going to own that division. They're going to own it. Lawrence had a spectacular year this year. 4,200 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 7 picks. Doug saved his ass. Completely saved him. That guy looks the part. I was talking to Shannon Sharp about that. He said the same thing. He goes, man, Trevor Lawrence, he looks the part like when he came out of Clemson. Totally looks the part. Okay? I think Jalen is the type of guy who will not want that much. That's crazy, Daniel. You don't have Clutch Sports and Maverick Carter and all them guys because you're looking for a deal. You're looking for the best deal for your clients. Jalen Hurts depends on if they come in and, hey, if they come in before the contract is up, there's going to be some goodwill. But if they let Jalen Hurts play out the final year of his contract, there won't be any goodwill. That's why it's going to be interesting to see, okay, how they handle this. They're not going to be able to rebuild the team with 16 free agents if you're starting at the quarterback salary. People will be lost. That's just the game. That's why the NFL does it this way. They like to parity in the game. That's why there's a salary cap. See, in Major League Baseball, you could pay a luxury tax. Same thing with the NBA. You can't do that in the NFL. You get fined and you lose draft choices. 38.5, never take that. Unless they do it in the offseason and sign them to a 2-year contract. And they give them a bonus. Or maybe guarantee the entire thing. 38.5, okay? With guys like Freddie Mitchell, Todd, and James, it's a wonder we have receivers catch any. Dude, your tight ends, though, Joseph, have been spectacular. for about 20 years. The Eagles have really had some great ones in there. They've really had some productive guys. I think this guy here that you have right now is probably the best that you've ever had. I think he's the best. Okay? I do. I want to get to this. Here are the Super Bowl odds, according to DraftKings. Here are the players people think may win the Super Bowl MVP. Number 10, Deebo Samuel, San Francisco 49ers, plus 3,000. At 9, Kansas City's Travis Kelce, plus 2,800 bucks. This is for the Super Bowl MVP odds. Number 8, Justin Herbert, plus 2,500. Number 7, Christian McCaffrey, plus 1,800. Some of these guys are going to be stunning to you. Number 6, Dak Prescott, plus 1,500. Number 5, Joe Burrow, Bengals, plus 1,000. Number 4, Brock Purdy, 49ers, plus 900. This is for the Super Bowl odds as of today on players who may win this award heading into the postseason. Brock Purdy is 4th at plus 900. Number 3, Jalen Hurts, plus 650 bucks. Number 2, Josh Allen, Bills, plus 550 bucks. And number 1, Mahomes, plus 400 bucks. You bet a buck, you win $400. It's like that. Brock Purdy has better odds to win the Super Bowl than Burrow, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Travis Kelce, and Deebo Samuel. By the way, if you look at it, there's 3 49ers on this list. Deebo, McCaffrey, and Purdy. People love the Niners. They think the Niners are getting – Vegas and Atlantic City thinks that the 49ers are getting to the Super Bowl. This guy, Brock Purdy, man. Dude, where he came from just shows you how hard it is to evaluate that position. This guy was the last player drafted. I know, Philiopolis, Brock Purdy, according to DraftKings. This ain't big sales. This is DraftKings. Plus, he's 4th, plus 900 to win the Super Bowl's most valuable player. Brock Purdy. Is Brock Purdy this version and this offseason's version of Nick Foles? Is this guy the new Nick Foles? Brock Purdy, Nick Foles? George Kittle, spectacular. He's a great player. He's a great blocker. I question sometimes his health because he's not always on the field. He plays with a reckless abandon. I like him a lot. He's probably a little bit better than what Jones was back in the day with Montana. So he's probably better than Jones. He's he's more physical than what Dwight Clark was. So you can make an argument he's probably the greatest tight end in the history of the 49ers. Okay, I would be comfortable going with some of the tight ends that they've had in that organization, which not have been a great name group. I think Clark was more of kind of like a Todd Christensen kind of dude back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember Todd Christensen, but Todd Christensen was a heck of a catch guy. He came out of BYU, caught a ton of passes when he was with the Raiders. So I would probably say something like that. Kittle's probably the greatest tight end in the history of the 49ers. Brent Jones was good, but I think Kittle's better. I mean, I like Brent. I'm a big Brent Jones guy, but Kittle's better. And you got to remember something too. The type of tight end that Walsh wanted was more of a versatile kind of guy that could catch passes like Jason Witten. See, personally, I look at Jason Witten. Jason Witten's not a Hall of Fame tight end to me. I mean, Jason Witten caught more passes that meant nothing than any other guy in the history of the league. I've never seen a guy catch more non-important catches than what Jason Witten did. Jason they didn't mean anything. They were empty calories. Cowboys were behind most of the time or stumbling along. I mean, Jason Witten's got statistics that don't matter. You know what I mean? They just don't matter. He beat the Eagles a bunch. Okay, were the Eagles really that great in the early 90s? I mean, like from 95, from 90, after Reggie left, from 95 to 2000, I don't really think the Eagles were all that hot. You know, that little time. Then 2000, they started getting better when Andy showed up. Okay? So Witten was like in the 90s. I don't know. Whatever era he played, he sucked. I mean, the Cowboys were never – plus the quarterbacks he had too weren't very good. Quincy Carter and them kind of dudes. Guy was a train wreck. So there wasn't a lot of great quarterbacks too. There was, you know, I mean, he didn't play with a lot. He played with Romo. I don't know. I think Jason Witten I don't think Jason Witten's a Hall of Famer. I mean, come on, man. You think he's better than Antonio Gates? I don't. Ray Rhodes was a coach of the year when he was in Philly. I think he did it twice too, by the way. Witten stats are like eating celery. Witten or Novacek? Jay played in more significant games. And Jay started his career with the Cardinals. Probably Witten. Reluctantly say that. But Novacek, it's got 3 rings. I mean, how about Hurts 4 years? $28 million a year? You're going to pay him only $3 million more than your wideout? No way. No way, 85. You're going to have to pay him 40. 2-year contract, guaranteed both years, and give him the $80 million. And then in the 3rd year, you can figure out what you want to do. If he's still healthy. I would keep Jalen Hurts. Guys, would we agree? I would keep Jalen Hurts on a short-term contract. I would not give out a 5-year deal, 6-year deal, 7-year deal. They'd all be 2-3-year deals. I don't know how Clutch Sports is going to go with that. The only way that they'll bite on that is if you guarantee almost all of it. Watch this. I'll give Jalen Hurts 2 years, $80 million. Would you do it? 2-year contract extension? You have to give him all of that money coming into this year, and he would still be on the base salary of that last year on his rookie deal. So the escalator doesn't kick in until 2024. So you'll have another year of not a lot of dead cap because of the signing bonus. Remember something that you have in Cleveland. Everyone looks, I'm not going 4 years with him. That's not working for me. He's been hurt every year he's played. You want me to give a guy who's going to get hurt again next year that money? I'm not getting Kyler Murray. I'm not getting Kyler Murray. I am not getting Kyler Murray. Sills, this 49ers team reminds me of the 2017 Vikings with Case Keenum and the number 1 defense. Only difference is Shanahan. Good. Yeah. Philiopolis. Yeah. Niners, but I think the Niners are more dominant and more of a power team than what that Viking team was in 17. I think they're more dominant. Okay. But I get the Case Keenum thing because nobody knows what Brock Purdy's going to do. I'm with you. Hey, by the way, don't forget Warren Moon, 5:30 Eastern. We'll talk to our friend. Okay. I think they're a little Philiopolis. I think that this this 49er team, I think they remind me of the Eagles. I think they're very compatible. Watch this. Jalen would be great on that team as he would be on the Niners or on the Eagles. I think you could put Jalen on both these teams, and Jalen would be 14-3 on both teams. I think he'd be 14-3 on both teams. Like if they ever wanted to move off of whatever quarterback they're, I'll tell you what, this guy Brock Purdy makes it easy for Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is gone. Okay, Purdy has now taken over that role. They got to decide what they're going to – hey, let's do this. If Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl, let's go here. What do you do with Trey Lance? Garoppolo's going to get a job. What do you do with Trey Lance? That guy Purdy wins the Super Bowl. Do you trade him? Because then you're in the same position that the Eagles were in. You guys have all the experience in this. What would you do? Because I think if Eagle fans had to do it all over again, they would have kept Foles and dealt Wentz. Hindsight, I get it. We're all there with that. But back then, I always went like this. If Alshon Jeffries catches that pass, see, to me, it wasn't the Super Bowl for Foles. Yeah, it was the next year. Foles was one game away from going back to his second straight NFC title. And if he would have done that and Jeffries catches that pass in New Orleans, I'm convinced that organization would have kept Nick and traded Wentz. And I do not believe they would have given Wentz that contract. But they did that in the 17 offseason. They jumped the gun. The Eagles jumped the gun because then they were compelled to keep him. They should have waited. They had to wait one more year. They had to wait. The Eagles' decision to give Wentz the contract showed the door for Nick the next year, no matter what he did in the playoffs. That's a shame because I think deep down they wanted to keep him. But financially, they couldn't because they already gave the contract. See what a bad decision will do to an organization? That move right there was the beginning of the unwinding of the Super Bowl 2017 Eagle team. Was the Eagles front office giving Wentz that contract after the 2017 Super Bowl? When they did that, they couldn't keep Foles. Foles went down and signed that gigantic contract with the Jaguars. You couldn't keep both guys like that. The cap would have been all out of whack, and it was the beginning of the unraveling. And that's why 3 years later, you won 4 ball games. Sales, who wins the Super Bowl this year? I'm going to stick with my pick that I've had for about 9 months. Bills and Eagles. Bills win the Super Bowl. The thought was, well, shit, Nick Foles got us the Super Bowl, so surely Carson. And Carson was the better talent. Carson was the better talent. I get it. But they didn't really have to give that contract to him. See, they were in such a good mood. Everybody was feeling good. Everyone was drunk on Broad Street. Everyone was greasing poles there and making sure nobody was killing themselves out there. And everyone was feeling great. But on the way, the Foles decision was the decision why that 2017 had a short window when it came to a Super Bowl. It was a 2-year window. And then New Orleans was the capper. When Jeffries dropped the pass, it was the end of it. They were never the same. Never the same. My question is going to be, what do you do with Trey Lance if you're San Francisco and John Lynch? What do you do with that move? You gave up all that equity to the Dolphins so you could pick that dude, and I don't think that dude's shit. I don't see it. I think that dude is a massive project, and I don't know. They drafted an athlete in San Francisco. They didn't draft a quarterback. Brock Purdy's a quarterback. Trey Lance, He's probably one of the best athletes in the NFL. But that don't mean he can play the position. That don't mean he can play the position. I don't think he can. Just like in Chicago. Wouldn't you agree? So you got the first pick in the draft now. You could take any one of these quarterbacks. Are you 100% sold you think Justin Fields is going to win you a Super Bowl? Do you think that player is going to win you a Super Bowl? I don't. I'd package that guy up, and I'd say, who wants him? And then I would draft Bryce Young. So you get Bryce Young. You might get you probably would maybe get a later first round for Justin Fields. I thought Justin Fields showed some promise, but I don't think he showed enough promise. I'm not sure he's going to get it right when it comes to the quarterback deal, throwing the ball. He's never exhibited that. Now, you could turn around and go, yeah, but Sills, what do they have up there for him to throw the – fair enough. But do you feel comfortable that Justin Fields has enough arm skill to win a Super Bowl? I don't. If I'm the 49ers, I trade Trey Lance too. I got my guy. And you know what? At the end of the day, I might keep Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy's got a no-trade clause too. You know, I love how everybody's talking shit on Derek Carr. Carr has a no-trade clause. He could tell the Raiders to go F themselves if he don't like to trade. He's got a no-trade. So before the Raiders start taking a piss on him, I'd be careful. Because you can have the best deal on the planet. If you don't want to go there, he ain't going. That's why players put that trade clause in there. Okay? Steven, sorry, Sills. I disagree. Fields needs help. The Bears are trash. Yeah, but I saw a quarterback in Cincinnati with the 31st worst offensive line. He did have skill guys. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Mixon, he did. Okay? Still, he took the Bengals to the Super Bowl. And I would ask you this too, Steven. Name me one guy in the history of the Bears that has been a decent quarterback in the last 60 years. Can you? Can you name me a Pro Bowl quarterback in the last 60 years in Chicago? Pro Bowler. McMahon, I think, made one. So I have to revamp it. Name me an all-pro quarterback. They've never had one. I mean, you have to go back to Sid Luckman. McMahon wasn't all-pro. And beat Montana out. Or Elway. Or Marino. That ain't work. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. Jay Cutler. Oh, I forgot about that, Steph. Yeah. Sills, I think they keep Fields. If Caleb Williams was in the 2000, you know what's funny, Maniac? I thought he was eligible for the draft. He's not. He's got to come back another year at SC. Sills, would you use Trey like Taysom Hill? Dude, you drafted the number 2 pick to be a gadget guy? Man, that seems like an awful expensive gadget, dude. Don't you agree? You got a gadget guy as your number 2 pick? Shit, man, I don't know. Mitchell Trubisky was a Pro Bowler. I think he was, man. Brandon, I think he was. Didn't he go 13 and something? He may have been. Okay. Yeah, but I revamped it, Brandon. I said all pro. Because I think McMahon also went. They haven't had an all-pro quarterback in 60 years, though. Okay? Dual threat. Thank you very much. Niners, isn't it funny? Your dual threat guy bombed. Got hurt. Hey, I never thought about that. Way to go, Niner. Thank you. Here's another dual threat guy. Trey Lance. How many games did he play this year, Niner? How many games I forgot Trey Lance. That's right. He's dual threat. How many games did he play? So Justin Fields got hurt at the end of the year. Kyler Murray got hurt. Jalen got hurt. How many games did he play? Way to go, Niner. More ammo for that. He played 1. He played one. Dual threat. Way to go, Niner. You gave me more rocket fuel. Dual threat. Played one game. Trey Lance. One play Trey. Yeah. 49ers DB are suspect, Big Seals. Look up how many passing yards they gave up. That one safety they got, 5-star, it's pretty damn impressive. Okay? Dual threat. Trey Lance. Look at this guy, 14-3. Warren Moon's going to join us, 5:30 Eastern time. Hour number 3, please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.